Hi, Misha here, and a couple of weeks ago did a video on the quote-unquote Asian contract kits that Atlantic has been selling and that everyone on the AK files, AK forums has quickly identified. And my plan was to build one. Looked at the kit, even obtained the correct profile and pretty unique barrel to build it. But then Atlantic built a few more of the rifles from the kit, so ordered one. Let's see what I got. So yeah, actually look, this one just came in today and their website is already showing sold out. I don't believe they built many, but I have it on pretty good authority. They will have at least one more, maybe a couple more batches, because the kits are limited supply. And why did I do this versus building one? I'm still not ruling out building one. I have the kit and the barrel, but these are not a straightforward build. Not because the gun itself is complicated, more the condition of the parts is complicated. So, a bird in the hand. Picked it up here. It's still very hot outside, so good day to do a table talk. And this is what we have. We get a US made 30 round mag. We get a generic AK operator's manual. And we get a battlefield pickup style rifle. Well, did I get lucky or not? So here we are. Took it out, removed the zip tie / safety flag, chamber flag, the little cover, folded the stock up, and stuck in the 30 round mag. And yeah, from the get-go, this is meant to be a battlefield pickup style gun. So, take that for what you will. The US parts include the receiver, which is from Childers, which has the SAR markings on it. The barrel is from AK Builder. It is proper quote-unquote Asian profile, and it is chrome lined. I did check, although I'm sure it's not hammer forged. We have a US mag, and I'm not entirely sure what the other parts are. We'll look inside in a minute. So we have, a little wear on top of the gas tube. Nothing too bad. Got a little hole in the bottom of the handguard, which others have had too. Wood pistol grip. A little bit of a dent in the ferrule there. I did put in my order notes that I would prefer, more attention to the metal versus the wood, because I already knew I had a kit with decent wood. So, if the wood wasn't perfect, I could just swap it out. I'd probably swap this ferrule out. And we do get a cleaning rod under the barrel. And we do have intact gas block here, threaded 14x1, the unique bayonet lug. I mean, everything unique from the original video is here. The slab side gas block, the simplified front sight. We went into great detail, even the simplified kind of checkered bulgy rear sight here. Bulgy as in bulge, not as in Bulgaria. And of course we have the riveted rear section here, unique rear part. Childers also did the work. So let's check out the receiver and rivets and all that good stuff. Credit to Childers, that stock is very tight. The butt plate's also quite good. Still has the spring-loaded detents. It's a unique folding stock, and then it's kind of a combination of the original and the later styles. We'll look at the kit in a minute. The rivet work, it's pretty well AKM in the front. The rear is pretty much its own thing when it comes to the rivets. Pretty unique. We do have XY stampings here. The original parts are left with their original finish. The US parts are given a hot blue finish. It's a standard 1mm receiver. Some of the parts that make this very easy to ID are the very unique dimpled ridge trigger guard, the furniture itself, of course, the gas block, and from there you can start looking at little pieces that are different. These were made with both ribbed and smooth top cover, so both can be correct, and there are variations in selector markings as well. So overall, the build seems pretty nice, and that's kind of trying to build with well-used parts, which honestly can be a pain in the ass, and these parts were not exactly of the highest caliber quality even when they were brand new. For example, I love how the gas tube here is literally a sheet piece of steel rolled and put together. It's kind of fun. Let's look inside. There we go. We have the unique rear trunnion slash quote-unquote weldment section back here. No other AK is really built like this. Chinese, Russian, etc. We have a double hook trigger. And we have a very simplified feed ramp. Here's our bolt. Looks to be original piston. These have a very interesting simplified machining pattern here. No real lightning cuts. They left the trip on, which is fine for a kit build. They even simplified the recoil guidance spring. So far the numbers I've asked someone to look at match trunnion, and Childress did match the receiver to the trunnion, the carrier, the bolt, and the top cover, which is a little unfortunate because it's kind of crushed and bent, broken in the back. I mean, it's not going to affect anything, it's purely a cosmetic break. But if it wasn't serial matched to the gun, I might swap one out from the parts kit. But c'est la vie. Funny enough, as much as it's kind of dinged up in the back there, the rest of it's fine. This looks like it's just probably dropped on it or something. I don't know. Who knows? Well, let's pop the gas tube off. Yep, definitely a very unique style. You can see the seam right here where it's put together. And then looking, we have our US barrel here. It's really curious how these are. They start out fat and then really step down rapidly. We have a ported tube or gas block, flat on the top and the sides. Like I said, the rear sight's kind of unique on these as well. Simplified. Everything's simplified. And as I pointed out in the original video, it feels like a lot of the stamping is just a little bit thinner, like the trigger guard, which would explain the ribbing. And I know some pointed out correctly that technically -1 would not refer to the folding stock variant, but that's kind of the Chinese naming system, and it does kind of help straighten out fixed versus folder. Well, let's get it back together, and I'm kind of tired of looking, well, you're tired of looking at this mag too. There we go, an appropriate Asian mag for this. And according to the importer, these are appropriate. even though they're a unique 20 round kind of flat back system. Anyway, I think everyone's still learning a lot about these guns. Now, I would not be afraid to shoot this because, well, it's a US barrel or receiver. And honestly, while the original parts have wear and tear, they don't really seem like they were shot just a ton. But I'm not going to brave the heat right now, because it's just going to shoot like an AK. I will say it's quite smooth. The trigger is nice enough. Hey, pretty nice trigger on it. Again, the stock is very sturdy for a underfolder. So really, the only real ding is the dust cover there in the back. Barrel pin. Unique look. And the type of gun we probably never really thought we'd get even in parts kit form. Now, most of my guns are imports. Some are kit builds with US receivers, but original barrels. Very few of my guns have US barrels. And if I do, I at least make sure they're chrome lined, but very few do. But this is as good as it's ever going to get for one of these. Not going to lie. So all in all, I'm pretty happy with this thing. I might look at the wood from the kits and see if it's worth switching around. By the way, this is Katapa wood, because that seems to be the common idea. And as I said in the first video, we used to go fishing with Katapa worms. They have little feet. On the other hand, it has just a legitimate been there, done that. People have said these are all over Africa, Middle East, and theories abound that these kits might have come out of somewhere like Lebanon. Which makes them, yeah. But the next question, is it sling worthy? And I tried to find a sling that matched this gun in terms of both quality of construction and condition. So what's my verdict? Yeah, I got to. I've spent half a year trying to talk myself out of keeping one, either a build or one from Atlantic. If I don't keep one though, I'll regret it. Funny thing, this swivel is pretty shallow, so to get the thing to it, I actually had to push the button in so it would give a little more space inside. Like I said, this stock is very tight too, which is a good thing. I'll get it on one hand. I'm going to switch it down just for a second. But the only tighter underfolder I've had was the one that came on my Zastava PAP-DF back in the day. But yeah, I thought this sling would be appropriate for it. It too came out of the Middle East. Now what I don't have for it is the bayonet. I know people said that Royal Tiger had them. When I looked, they were already sold out. Although if someone has one and wants to trade it for something, hit me up. Maybe we can work a deal. But I am happy it did come with a cleaning rod. The kits did not. And I am happy that it does seem to be numbers matching. Again, the top cover might be a bit of a double-edged sword, honestly. If it were a mismatched cover, I'd just swap it out. But we'll see. If you can't tell, that's really the only thing that really bums me. So, all in all, not too bad. I was actually afraid I might have had a destroyed gas block, and that would have been a much bigger pain in the neck to straighten out, or a floppy stock. So I don't want to sound unappreciative, because there could have been far worse issues. But with that said, let's get the kit out again and just kind of compare parts and conditions, since we're hanging out, kind of avoiding the heat. Alright, got the mat out because we're back to the kit. It's a little cleaner after last time. These aren't super greasy, the kits. They're just stuff. They've got grime on them. Just, yeah. A lot of the kits have some type of surface rust too. Rifle. Since we're talking about it, here's the top cover from the kit. It's undeniably better wonder if I could renumber it. Okay, I gotta stop. Anyway. It's very thin steel. The stock, on the other hand, I actually think the one on the belt gun might be a little nicer. This one's got some, hard to say with it not on the gun, but it's a very interesting stock. It's like they took a milled stock, but then they stamped it and filled it in. I was thinking there was a little bit of a difference in the way the cutout for the safety was done, but no, I think it's just me misremembering. Here's the rear trunnion again, or yeah, I guess you call it that. And this is the part where people are finding small star markings. On domestic use guns, there's also a star marking on the receiver, but for export guns, they're pretty devoid, for the most part. Deniability. And this is part of the thing they call the weldment, which just makes the whole rear very unique on these. The bolt carrier is actually a little different. If you can look here, there's a bit of a step up behind the charging handle. It does have the very rough edges, just kind of flat surfaces. Not a lot of wear on the piston for this one, I'll say. But then you look at this one, it's kind of the reverse. It has the same kind of angular, but then there's a bit of a step down behind the carrier here, or the handle here. I don't know what that's all about. Almost like they were handmade. And then looking at the furniture, I'm not really sure. Looking at the hanger, and of course, the ones for the built guns are a little more slicked up because they've been handled. There's always going to be the dings on the underside from the stock, but ding there. This does have that little hole. I don't know that it's better or worse. What do you think? The upper handguard might actually be nicer on the rifle. It does have this hump here. I wasn't sure when I first reviewed the kit if that was intentional, but this has it here too, so it's possible this one's slightly nicer, but if it is, it's not enough to matter. And then the pistol grip. This ferrule looks better a little bit, but then there is a small ding here on this side. So a small ding instead of a larger one on this one, but might swap those around. We'll see. As far as the grip itself, they're both a little chewed, but nothing too crazy. Just honest wear and tear. And I thought so. This is that original muzzle nut. Notice there's not a step behind. There is one on this. It's possible this was part of the kit, but I actually think this is a US part. And again, here's the original look. But I did notice something else, and I did want to talk about the AK Builder barrel. So let's move some parts around. So here's the US barrel out of the package. It's already threaded. It's just a different profile, especially with this big kind of step down here. Here is the one here. Here is the one from the kit you first saw. Here's actually one out of a friend's kit. I brought it out because, interestingly, whereas this barrel stub is part of the trunnion here, on this one it was pulled out of the trunnion. You can see the barrel pin, but then it was left on the sight base. But you can kind of see the big step down a little better on this one. And yeah, they did a good job of replicating it. This one's more of a sharp step down. This one's a little bit more curved, but it's also very possible they change production types over time. Interestingly, they both have kind of lathe marks, probably more on the original. Looking at this one, little step down there. But this also shows us something that's kind of interesting. Our rear sight. This one is very much like our kit. It's checkered. But on our rifle here, it's actually dished out a bit. The other one over here, though, is interesting. It's smooth. And the button's on this side. I don't know if it's reversed around. Almost seems like it is because it doesn't want to latch in. Because on this side, it's on this side. Let me see on this one here. Yeah, it's on that side. So I think the reason this isn't latching is simply because it's been flipped around. But either way, these are smooth. And I don't think it's that the checkering is worn off. I think it's just a simplification. I'm halfway tempted to take that slider off and put it on this one because it is kind of a unique thing to it. And like I said, this is already threaded and they did a good job. Here's our original nut here. Let's put it on. Yeah, it screws on quite well. There's a little bit of a lip there. I'm sure you could use a wrench. That's just I put it on hand tighten. But no, it seems like a nice barrel, and as I said, it's chrome lined. And it is made specifically for these kits. And just because here's the nut from the kit on the gun. I enjoy just kind of messing around with stuff like this. This to me is fun. It's a relaxing way to spend an evening. I said this is from a friend's kit. So let's look at his furniture. And here that is. Let's look at another set. This too has a ding or two on this upper piece. It must be quite fragile. The side looks good. There's a bit of a chip on the underside here that the others didn't have. The lower handguard looks pretty alright. It's got that hole too. It's got the ding for the stock folds. It's not new looking, of course, but it's probably one of the nicer lowers. Yeah, this one's got a ding here. It'd almost be worth swapping that out. But then you look at this upper, and oh boy, that's seen better days. It's kind of soft, porous wood. Yep. You can let me know, do the colors on all these wood pieces match or don't match, or I don't know how top of wood shades, you know. But I just thought since this was to hand, we'd look at it real quick. Again, probably maybe the best lower, but the worst upper. But that's just where it is. And again, the kit probably had the best top cover. But I think if you pick up any of these, you're either going to get dings, dents, rust, bluing wear. You're going to get something because these saw service and use. Very much in the battlefield pickup. And I kind of get it. The guns were originally made quite rough, so it fits. So what do you think today? And video 2, looking at the suspicious Asian contract gun. And that's about it, folks. Again, if it had been cooler, we would have gone out and shot it. I'm sure we will when we have time. But it's going to shoot like most any other 7.62x39 gun. So it's not radically new or different there. No, that's not the reason for wanting these. And beautiful condition isn't either. It's the uniqueness, the rarity. Again, easy way to identify these: trigger guard and gas block. But then when you start looking, everything's different. Not a whole lot of Chinese Type 56 in here, for being honest. It's more an AK47 milled, turned into an AKM, sort of, but also made where manual labor was basically free and resources very limited, but quite obviously exported. The rivet work that Childers did probably honestly is nicer than the original would have been. Ironically, is that might sound. They also made the stock. It folds up very even on the handguard. Very nice and tight. Mags fit well. Trigger's quite decent. And even though this cover's beat up in the back, it actually fits quite well. Gas tube's a little loose, but that's kind of to be expected. Normal. But no, all in all, I do like it. It'll be an interesting talking piece for the collection. Now if we can only get a Vietnamese AK. So what do you guys think? Anyone who's bought kits or picked up these build guns, what's your results? It's just kind of luck of the draw, because the kits were well used and old at the time. They came from a third-party nation, Africa, Middle East. And, yeah, they don't really seem like they've seen a high round count, at least the handful I've looked at, but they've seen a lot of carry use and, you know, just elements. Weight-wise, you know, it's pretty well standard AKMS type of weight. And like I said, if anyone's got a bayonet that's proper for this, you know, feel free to hit me up and let me know. Maybe a trade item. But for now, it's a neat little surprise. I'm also glad I waited to get into these when I had time this summer instead of trying to cram it in last Christmas, because I wouldn't have been in a good headspace to do it and had the time to really enjoy these and research them. But it has been a lot of fun. Maybe one day we'll get other mysterious Asian contract parts or guns built from parts. You never know. But I think they did a good job. Some people might want to do the one in infinity or the Asian markings. These are done SAR, more for an export look. I believe all are fine. If anyone knows the differences in the rear sight knobs, or buttons rather, let me know. Again, this is kind of dished out and coarsely checkered. The other one's more standard, and the other one is just flat. So, kind of neat. Trigger guard is so cool on these. Mag catches, kind of Chinese style. So yeah, guys. Hope everyone's staying safe and well as we move through August. And we'll get out shooting as soon as the weather allows. And as always, if you could, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you'd like to help support the channel, go over and check us out on Patreon. There'll be a new Q&A thread going soon. We vote on some different things, you know, trying some new things out, but mostly just to help support the channel. But if you can't, that's cool. Liking, sharing, and subscribing, that's great too. This is Misha. Catch you very soon. Next time.